I want to talk to you about what white people see in you that you do not see in yourself. I want to talk to you about the power that white people see in you, but you fail to see in yourself. Please allow me to read an address by Lord Macaulay's address to the British Parliament in February 1835. This was in February 1835. It was the 2nd of February 1835. And this is what he said. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of my time. I'm not going to take forever, but I just want to break down this thing. And then, what is this man seeing that you are not seeing?
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I just hope that you're doing fine wherever you are today. This is Eugene Stories, and I'm glad that this is the right time to be alive because we need to see people, preachers, coming out talking about these topics because they are really important, because they shape how we think, they shape how we do our activities in normal daily life. Because for the longest time, Africans existed, black people existed, and they lived their own independent life until the colonizers came to disrupt the type of life that black people lived. So what am I saying? Initially, before colonization and everything, before slavery and everything, black people lived in harmony. People were so united. Everything was communal. The life, people were not starving. There was no poverty, just to be said. But you realized when the white person set their foot to Africa, now this is when things started to change. Capitalism became the game. People now started being desperate. People tried to find ways of surviving through stealing, prostitution, name it. And this all came because a white man came and introduced money. A white man came and introduced everybody with their own thing, capitalism. If you don't own anything, you have to work for it. And remember, also in the past, people were motivated to work so hard because generally you were being measured as being a person who is responsible if you can work hard, taking care of animals and generally everything. But this is important because this is a discussion that looking it as an African, in the stance of an African, in the stance of continental African, what this black preacher says really makes sense because white people, and I'm not pointing blaming fingers to them, but this is just the truth. They are the authors of poverty, especially in black people, because they are the same people who have used our leaders today. The fights that we are having, look at how the IMF is driving Africans crazy, driving Kenyans crazy. So looking at how these things happened really tells you that a white man, a white person, they are the authors of poverty. I want us to listen to this video where this black preacher is trying to discuss about these things. That is really important. Getting it from his stance, getting it from his spiritual aspects of why do we see them as the problem, So I want us to dive right into this video and then come back, have a discussion about it, because I believe that it is something that we need to talk about. Until then, this is your presenter, Eugene Stories. If you're watching this video for the first time, you can consider subscribing to our channel, join our membership, and really get to see what we can offer you. Until then.
And he saw it in 1835, the 2nd of February. Ungitshela ukuthi uboneni kuwe ongayiboni wena kuwena. He says the following: I have traveled across the length and the breadth of Africa, and I have seen not one person who is a beggar. Why are there so many beggars today? Why are there so many people who are hungry? Why are there so many people who are living in mkukus? Why are there so many people who are resorting to crime? There was a time in our life where that could never be experienced. It was not even possible. And I'm telling you what a white man is saying. He says, I never saw even one beggar. Because these people were a communal people. They would not let anybody go hungry. They loved each other so much. Before capitalism came and grabbed their attention, they took care of each other. And as I traveled along the length and the breadth of Africa, I never saw one beggar. What happened? That there are so many beggars today? What happened? That there are so many criminals today? What happened? That there are 10,000 people in South Africa every day that go to bed, not 10,000, 10 million people every single day that go to bed without eating. Statistically proven, 10 million people tonight are going to go to bed without food. What happened? What changed? And he says, I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country. Such high moral values. High moral values. And that was before that was even before we embraced the Bible. The moral values were up there. People of such caliber that, now listen to him carefully, that I do not think we would ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation. Unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage. A white man said, we cannot conquer these people until we break their spiritual heritage and their cultural heritage. What did he see in our spiritual heritage that he so desperately wanted to destroy in order for him to conquer us? What did he see in our cultural heritage that he so desperately wanted to destroy in order to overcome us? Oh! He says, therefore, I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system. Replace. The way they transfer knowledge from the one to the other. Destroy that. destroy her culture, destroy her spirituality, destroy it for us to conquer him. What was it? What is it that he saw that was so powerful that unless he destroys it, we will never be his subjects? For if the African thinks that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem. I'll say it again. If the African thinks that all that is foreign and all that is English is good and greater than their own, Bastolelap, where we think that their language is better than ours, their education is better than ours, their culture is better than ours, their God is better than ours, their God is glorious. Our ancestors are demons. Until you came to a point where you referred to your ancestors as demons. Eric Fedilate, please don't disappoint me. For if we can convince that all that is African, where am I? Think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem. They will lose their native culture. And listen to this one. And listen to it. And they will become truly what we want them to be. A conquered and dominated nation. What must we do to make them to be a conquered and dominated nation? Today, we are a conquered and dominated nation because they strategized on us. And they broke the backbone of our culture. They broke the backbone of our systems. And they caused us to hate ourselves. Wangutwa wonder. They caused us to hate ourselves. And they knew if they achieve that, we will be truly a conquered and dominated nation. Today, black people are 81% of the population, controlled by 7% of the population, because they followed this formula. I want you to be a tough black man in your mind. I want you to be a tough black man, not one who's easily influenced by a strategy of a white man who wants nothing good for you, but just to dominate you and conquer you. I'm done. Nchapeleng matsogo. Only mad pastors preach about this. You have to be mad like Anda to talk about this. And I admit I am mad. That's why I talk about this.
A black person is a powerful person, right? But you realize that we are now starting to feel like we are inefficient. We are starting to feel like we are not enough because the white person came. And listen, I'm not just trying to blame a white person for this, but this is just how it goes. As I said earlier while I introduced the video, Africans, black people, lived peacefully with their own type of life, with their own type of culture. This cosmological life that black people had, the spirituality that black people had, their belief system, how they executed sacrifices to God, how they talked to the ancestors. If you look at the life before white people set their foot to Africa, it was really, really good, honestly. But the moment they set their foot in Africa, that's just when things changed. And when things changed, it means that a black person started to see themselves as subhuman. And they made this as a belief to a black person that I am not greater than you, you are greater than me. There is something that we ourselves we don't see amongst ourselves today. Let me get back to contemporary world. Why do you think the moment talent is discovered in Africa, it has to be taken away from Africans? It has to go overseas. It has to go to the United States. Why are we having brain drain? And the pastor has asked a great question. See, there is something that the enemy is saying from us that we are not seeing. We have the capabilities, we have the potential, but we amongst ourselves are not seeing it. For example, we are having talents here in Africa, right? We have footballers, we have singers, we have boxing, name it all. But it will take a white person to see and not our own government to see this problem. And the moment you realize it, you'll get to see them getting the visas, going to work overseas. While the United States records best surgeons, while India records best surgeons, best doctors, if you go to those health facilities, the people that you'll get, it is just black faces. And this makes you ask a question, which also the priest has asked. There is something spiritual that we black folks, we are not seeing, that the white person is seeing. Because you get to realize that we ourselves, we might be playing with it, but just when these white people take a black person and they go with them back to the United States, just when things change from there. Because we black people, we never saw it for ourselves, and they saw it and they are utilizing it. At some point it goes both ways. While we can blame white people, we can also blame our corrupt leaders. They are not providing us with facilities for ourselves to survive, for ourselves to sustain ourselves. So we are left with just having the mentality that no, I need to leave Africa. I need to go to the States to get the life that I want. While this is not right, because you are leaving a lot of things, and if you look at things spiritually, you realize that there are some things that these people are stealing from us and we are not saying. So, as I said, the preacher has brought into the table a good question that really makes me wondering, why is it that we are seeing these people doing to us these things and yet we are not doing anything? The pace that was there before is no longer there. Look at how Kenyans are fighting. Look at how Congo is going. Just look at everything which is happening around Africa. Is it today that literally people are fighting for their life? If you realize that the author says that white people are the authors of poverty, 100% I believe. Whether they are the ancestors who practiced slave trade, whether these are the people who are the authors of poverty. That's what I would like to say. And I really commend the preacher for coming out talking about this, because the black community needs to hear such as these kinds of preaching. Political education is really important, whether in the church, whether outside the church, because these are the things which affect the growth of the black community, not only in Africa. Every black person in different continents that you are, whether you are in the United States, whether you are in Africa, whether you are, name it all, you know very well. So I'm glad that I'm alive to see black people waking up, because the moment you see these kinds of talk in the church, really tells you that there is a reckoning and people are waking up. If you haven't waked up, what are you waiting for? Stay woke, get to know the truth. This is your presenter, Jindak Stories. I hope that you're doing fine wherever you are today. If you watched this video and you resonated with it, you can consider subscribing to the channel. Join the membership, really get to see what we can offer you. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.